Now, in further good news too, I'm hearing that the Gold Coast Airport had a record day yesterday with since the number of people coming into the Gold Coast. I understand Cairns Airport is doing well as well. So look, we are expecting a very good Easter, and we welcome, we're lifting that Greater Brisbane as being a hotspot, and I'm asking all other leaders across the country to consider doing the same as well. But if you are coming to Queensland, you'll have to abide by these restrictions in terms of mask wearing, just as the same as everybody else. And really, when you think about it, it's a small thing to do, but it means that we can go out, support our businesses, support our tourism industry, and spend time with our loved ones, which is, you know, a really special time of the year. So look, I'll hand over to Dr. Young, and then the Deputy Premier, our Deputy Commissioner, and then of course we're happy to take questions after that. Thanks.
So this is very encouraging news that we only had one community-acquired case overnight in Queensland, and that was the perfect case, if I could describe it as that. This was one of those participants in that party that happened at Byron Bay. So when the person came back to Queensland, they went into quarantine and they were tested on Monday night, and they were negative on Monday night. Then they were tested again Wednesday morning when they were positive. So they have been in quarantine during their infectious period, so are no risk at all. So definitely a linked case, but also that additional bonus that they were in quarantine. And that was our one community-acquired case. And the reason I can be reasonably confident that we're managing these two outbreaks is the amount of testing. The amount of testing over the last 48 hours has been astronomical. Thank you to every single person who's come forward. I know it takes time. I know there are queues, so thank you for doing that. And because of that, we can be reasonably confident that we don't have other chains of transmission happening out there in the community. But for the next 14 days, we will need to continue that testing. So please keep coming forward if you have any symptoms at all, or if you've been to one of those 118 exposure sites that are up on our website. If you've been to one of those, please make sure you continue to come forward so we find the first case, and we can then manage it so quickly like we did with this second cluster. That nurse was fantastic. She was the first case. She came forward. We got on top of it really quickly due to her work and due to the work of Queenslanders. So now we can be talking about lifting those lockdown restrictions and going to a reduced level of restrictions. Now we have to, unfortunately, keep those restrictions that have been in place for the rest of Queensland in place for the next 14 days because we're not completely cleared yet. We think we can manage it with those restrictions and with the response that we've seen from Queenslanders, but it doesn't mean the outbreak's over. It just means that I don't believe we need the lockdown to manage this outbreak going forward. We can use those other restrictions and the response that Queenslanders have put in.